Hey guys, Shram Midget here. So I'm going to be doing a review and shooting test, rather an overview and shooting test on a G&G Toptech 416. This gun is not stock, and that's why I'm leaning towards overview, because it's not a review on the stock gun. It's a custom built, so it's more of an overview. But pretty much most of the externals are stock, so you'll get an idea on the quality of the G&G's externals. But other than that, most of the inside is not stock from the 416. Now this is Garrett's. He basically what happened is I met him about a year ago, and I upgraded this gun. I put a Hulk Fed in it. He had a Matrix Magnum motor. I put a Metal Rack piston, an Elite Force Metal Rack piston with the Elite Force piston head, Sorbo, and that was it. Wired in that Hulk Fed. And then he played with it, and then what he ended up doing is actually sending it to GI, and GI took the gearbox out of the 416, and basically he had them build him a M4. I don't know if this is exactly what they did, but I think he bought all the parts from GI. It was a G&G metal body. It's not the Toptech. It was one of the military license. I don't know if it was like a Marine license, or I think it was one of their Special Forces bodies, but it was OEM G&G, metal upper and lower, and then he did a free float rail, a new barrel, he did a new inner barrel, same internals and same gearbox just dropped into the body, and then he got a cool stock and all sorts of other stuff on the outside of the gun to make it look cool. So basically the original gearbox that I built is in his M4. This one is basically a Franken gun. It has Lancer Tactical pistol grip, Lancer Tactical crane stock, Lancer Tactical plastic buffer tube, and then the whole body here is the Toptech G&G. Internally, I'll get to that in a minute. It's basically a Franken gun, like I said. So I'll just start from the front and go to the back. So on the front we have a birdcage flash hider. The barrel here I think is a 14.5 or maybe a 15. There's a flip down sight. It is built in. You have ambi sling mounts on either side. Got a quad rail on the top. It's a 416 style, and honestly I like the quad rail. Especially the longer version. The really short 416 rails I don't really care for, but the longer version you've got plenty of real estate. It's something different, honestly, different than say a key mod, which I have tons of key mods. So I do like the rail system on it. Some people hate it. There's a vertical RVG on here. It's made by Magpul, and then the G&G Toptech 416 body. Of course you got safe, semi, full auto, the Lancer Tactical plastic pistol grip, which is Dookie. And the Lancer Tactical crane stock, which fits the stick lipo. He is ordering 2 of these this week, and then he has 1, so he'll have 3. So as far as internals on this gun, it used to have the Lancer Tactical gearbox in here. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, I think he installed it himself, the Lancer Tactical gearbox. But it was just completely stock with a, not a Matrix, but an E-Vike, an actual E-Vike motor. They're new motors, they're literally just E-Vike. And it's the torque up, and I just don't like it. The Tornado version of their motor is garbage. I don't like the torque up either. It's not as torquey as a Matrix motor, like the Matrix Turbo. Being a high speed, I don't recommend high speed motors, but the Matrix Turbos are pretty good. And then the Godzilla, which is higher, and then there's the Magnum. The Magnum's like 16 TPS. I have that in my MP5. That's what he has in his M4. And I believe the Godzilla is like 22 or something TPA. And all of them have strong magnets. So it has the E-Vike torque up motor. I don't know what TPA. I think it's 16. The magnets are neo-magnets. They're not super strong, but they're okay. A G&G gearbox shell, because this body was so picky, it had to have a G&G gearbox shell. The Lancer Tactical would not angle right, so it has G&G shell. It's got the Lancer Tactical full cylinder. It's got a Super Shooter aluminum cylinder head that is double O-ring. It has a Super Shooter aluminum nozzle with O-ring. It's got a SHS Metalrack piston with a Super Shooter aluminum piston head. Really good compression. Not perfect, but really good. We have a Sorba pad. We have a ZCI M100 spring. Actually, I had to swap out the ZCI M100 spring for the Lancer Tactical 120 because with the ZCI M100 it would overspin, not overspin, but do premature engagement. Basically, the piston would not go all the way forward before the sector gear was turning around to pick it up again and basically hit it when it wasn't ready. So I put a heavier spring and then short stroked. So it is the Lancer Tactical 120, stock spring guide, SHS 12-in-1 gear set, short stroke by 3 teeth. There's a sector chip on there, and then there is a G&G ETU MOSFET with the short triggerable mod. I shortened it so that the safety still works. It's like just on that point where it still works. The ETU MOSFETs, in my overall opinion, I would just say they're okay. There's a lot of things that are wrong with them, but there's some good things that are good. Now, G&G, their first edition, did not have the clicky button, and I have seen probably 8 of those MOSFETs fry as far as the button itself breaks. So basically, when the button breaks, it's constantly pushed in, and basically then it just fries either your battery or your board, the chip or board, whatever you want to call it, in the buffer tube. It just fries it. I've seen that happen way too often. Now G&G has started to do the clicky, and that's what this micro switch has. It's a clicky button, and so it's a little bit more durable. It's just going to take a little bit more abuse. But I have seen like one or two of the clicky ones break too. And then also the size of the G&G is reducing the size of the MOSFET board, but that is not the issue. Some people I guess it's a misconception. This is not the issue with the MOSFET board, because with the G&G stock you have to use a nunchuck LiPo, okay, an 11-to-1 or a 7-4, you have to, okay. Now take for instance this Lancer Tactical stock. The crane stock tube is big enough to fit a LiPo, so you just slide it in there. You don't have to mess with this whole system. My point is, if G&G made their crane stock tube big enough to fit an 11-to-1 stick LiPo, then there would be absolutely no issues with finding space for this, because you don't have to mess with it. And this gun still has the fuse. I did keep the fuse in here just in case. I've got spare of these fuses, but I could have just done without it. And it slides down in there like that. The MOSFET board and the fuse, well, the fuse isn't all the way down in there, but the stock's all the way in. So if I put the stock out to position 2, which is where at least he'd have it. He's a taller guy, so I think he has longer arms, so he'd probably do 3, probably position 3. And then you can plug the battery in, right here. Then you can tuck the wires into the other side of the crane stock tube. Sound familiar? This is what I do with my PTW. And it's not my PTW, my ICS-34. And it is a good system. Don't want to pinch any of the wires. You have to make sure, especially with the back portion of this Lancer Tactical stock, you want to make sure you don't pinch anything. And so then it just goes on, just like that, and it clicks on. Now, that is at the second position. I have never ever seen a their G&G crane stock at the second position with their MOSFET. It is almost impossible. The closest I've seen is the third position, and the wires are literally right at the edge of the plate that swings over. So literally the issue with the size is not the size. It is the size of the crane stock tube, not the size of the MOSFET. The size of the MOSFET is not really going to help much. You're going to get a little bit extra room for the nunchuck LiPo to fit in the buffer tube, but you're still going to be stuck with the nunchuck until they make the crane stock tube bigger, which I doubt they'll do. So let's go ahead and shoot it. The goal of this is 350 FPS or under. It chronos right at 340 to 350, so it literally is perfect. I short stroked it by 3 teeth, and it was literally perfect on the amount of teeth. As far as the hop up, it's running a stock barrel, stock bucking, and stock hop up from G&G. So let's go ahead and shoot it. Over hop, but it shoots very well. Motor height is off. I do not like this pistol grip, but it feeds and shoots. Shooting pretty far too. I'll probably leave it there. It's overhopping with the .2, but he uses 2.5s in his other gun, so he'll probably just use 2.5s in this as well. So it shoots pretty good. It might sound a little weird. The shimming is good on the gearbox. I don't think the meshing is good on the e-bike motor. I don't like the pinion gear on the e-bike motor, but I think the biggest issue is the base plate on this frickin' Lancer Tactical pistol grip. It is not and it's not putting the motor up at a good meshing point with this bevel gear. So that's a minor adjustment though. Let's try some full auto. I think it shoots about 25 on 11.1. Yeah, it shoots nice, but you can definitely hear that it sounds like it's all in the motor to me, because I've shimmed this thing multiple times. Every time I've taken it apart, I've checked the shimming and the height and everything. It's all lubed up. It's all good. And I honestly, it has to be in the motor. But it feeds. That was the biggest thing with this gun. It's not feeding, and it feeds. It's shooting sub 350 as well. So there you go. I mean, it shoots and shoots well. About 25 rounds a second, maybe a little less, but it shoots really nice. Now it does overhop, like I said, so .25 is probably what he's going to use. And like I said, he uses 2.5s in his M4 and maybe his pistol. So he'll just use 2.5s in this. Even though the FPS is low, it doesn't matter. This is going to be his CQB gun, so you're going to be shooting people from under 100 feet anyway, so a .25 will be good. So that's that. So, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I do need to adjust the motor height, but it does shoot. It feeds, and it shoots. With a .2, you could hit people at probably 180 feet, honestly. The BB is slow, because the FPS is kind of low, but the BB, since it's overhopped, it actually just kind of sails. So, but with a .25, again, indoors, you don't need to shoot past 100 feet, so... If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.